This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today is Monday, September 12th, 2016, and the title of this rant will be Thugs and Kisses, or as I would like to say, loving the one that hates you. So let's get on here. Trump has been kissing up to Vladimir Putin quite a bit, and let's just talk about Russia in general. Number one, Russia is basically a failed petrostate. Right now, it is run by a thug who is an authoritarian, and he has a lot of rich oligarchs, which he has set up in power to help him stay in power and to help him keep rich, that are protecting him. And this is kind of what a lot of our friends on the right really like. You know, what they consider a strong leader running the country by authoritarianism, because that's how they would like to run the United States. They admire that. So Dr. Krugman goes, let's just talk about Putin's record. Let's just talk about it from, let's say, he came in 1999. He's still technically been running the thing the whole time. It's basically a petrostate. 2/3 of their economy, their export economy, is oil, and that's the way it's been for a long, long time. And right when he came in 1999, the price of oil went up by threefold. And then around 2008, remember how oil was $150 a barrel? I think it was the summer of 2008, maybe it was 2007. But it went up to $150 a barrel. And again, Putin was able to take advantage of the fact that most of their money was coming from oil. And, they had a surplus, so to speak. But what's been going on for the last 8 years? Their economy has gone down because the price of oil has gone down. There has been nothing that he has done to do anything in terms of diversifying the economy that they had. And he knew way back when the Soviet Union broke up, that they needed to do things, even though he wasn't president at that time. It was well known that the Soviet Union was a first-rate superpower and a third-rate economy, or a third world economy. And what Vladimir Putin wants to do wants to be back to that basically superpower status again. And as Obama pointed out, he's not a superpower. He's just a regional power, a thug and an authoritarian that likes to push his weight around because, hey, they are pretty big geographically. They do have some money because of the oil, and they have a pretty good armament industry. But what happened when the Soviet Union broke up is they had a tremendous workforce. Now, I can even remember reading back in the day that, let's just make an example, that their military, it wasn't just one group of people that came up with the new next generation MiG. No, they had several competing groups of people that got money from the government, to come up with the next generation MiG. And that went for all of their armaments, that went for all of their tanks, that went all of their ballistic missiles, and their submarines, and their battleships, etc., etc. So they had competing factions within the Soviet Union that could do all this. And they had a very strong workforce. Again, but what's happened since then? It's become an authoritarian state. He's crushed his opponents. There really hasn't been that much democratic action out there, and you got to have political capital to get into that economy to do things. And guess what? A lot of people didn't have that. So a lot of them had gone to Israel, and their economy, their technology area is booming right now. They have a very big boom going on right now. And what's the other thing that we can say? We know a lot about the workforce there, that they have a lot of hackers. And of course, here's a problem with the hacker: is hacking constricts technology or technological potential. Especially when, again, the business depends upon political capital. And of course, we know that Trump is involved in that political capital because we know from some of the statements made by his son and other things that they have done a lot of work in Russia over the years. And we also know that no one lends any money to Trump anymore, except for, let's say, Deutsche Bank. But has there been money coming into the Trump coffers from overseas? Again, we won't know that because Trump won't release his tax returns or anything like that. So from an economic standpoint, Russia has been a failed petrostate, so to speak. They've had some chances to move on. Putin has not done it because he did what every strong man does. He became an authoritarian. He became a thug. He got a group of rich people around him so that he could become rich and he could protect himself in the highest offices of the land. And who has suffered? The Russian people have suffered. Now, what about other things about Russia? What about what he has done militarily? Let's see, he invaded Crimea. No, he didn't invade it. He basically took it over. Of course, that's a wash because now they're losing money in Crimea because no tourists are coming there because they don't want to be a part of all that. It's too scary. It's not too scary. It's too dangerous, so to speak, to go over there. Then you have him invading Ukraine. All right, shooting down, putting armaments in his thugs' hands over there, and one of them shot down a commercial jetliner. So, yeah, he's got a really, really good track record. And Dr. Krugman points out, what about, the soft power that the United States tries to work with other countries with? Is Russia trying to do anything like that? Yet. Not a bit. Not a bit. So what we really have here is a Putin cult on the part of Trump and the people on the right. Because we don't know, one, how much money Trump owes to people in Russia. And we don't know, because we don't know anything about his taxes or anything like that. But what we do know is who Putin is. And who Putin is someone who came into power, used his power to crush all of his domestic opponents, take over all of the levers of power in terms of the judiciary, in terms of the press, in terms of the military, in terms of the judiciary, in terms of the government, in terms of everything. He has crushed his political opponents. And that is what is extremely appealing to our friends on the right. They really like that kind of stuff because that's how they would like to operate, meaning holding the executive branch, holding the judicial branch, holding the congressional branch or legislative branch, holding the press. But again, not holding them freely, but taking them over, a hostile takeover. That to them is appealing. And that is as undemocratic as you can get. But that's what we're seeing from Trump and our friends on the right.